Pros and cons to the eBay LS swap wiring harnesses. For your pros with the eBay harnesses, they're cheap. Like, you can get one of these for around $100 and they do work. Your car will run. The layout of these is pretty similar to what you would get from something like a painless harness, and they're very easy to install. Sometimes people run into issues with the under the dash portion because the instructions that these come with are a little less than English sometimes. Now, the biggest con for these is that the wire used is copper-clad aluminum, and if you know anything about copper-clad aluminum versus full copper wiring, copper-clad aluminum is definitely cheaper, which is why these are so cheap. It is lighter than full copper, but it is more brittle and it has less conductivity than copper does, which is a topic for another video completely. Another con of these harnesses is the connector quality, which these ones are generally fine. The ones I have an issue with are the ECM connectors, and this wouldn't bother somebody that's only going to use it, put it into a car and leave it there. But me, I test harnesses, I change ECMs a lot, and the quality of these connectors versus the OEM ones is a little bit shoddy. As in, when you put these into the ECM, it will go fine, but when you go to take them out, they're going to separate at each spot, and you're going to have to put it back together or pry them out with a screwdriver, and it's just kind of a pain in the ass. One other con that other people have run into that I've heard about but I haven't personally had to deal with is the O2 sensors being pinned incorrectly to the ECM. Some people say that when they put these harnesses in, get everything together and running, they don't get O2 sensors signal to the ECM, and that's something that's not hard to fix, but it is just a pain in the ass. One thing on them that I do enjoy is that they have provisions for both style of mass airflows, the LS1 and the truck. One thing people often forget to plan for when they buy one of these harnesses, whether it be a painless or one of the eBay ones, is that they do come with EV1 style injector plugs, and most people are using truck intakes that use Multec style. So one important thing to remember when you're buying one of these, whether it be an eBay one or a painless or something else, if you're using the Multec injectors on a truck, you need to get an adapter from Multec to EV1. Now, that information is only for the drive-by cable harnesses that say like 97 to 03. If you're getting the 03 to 07 drive-by wire harnesses, they will come with the injector plugs for the Multec injectors. So this is a side-by-side of EV1 versus Multec, and that's how you can tell the difference. So stuff like this Trailblazer SS intake will come with a third style injector, and this is called EV6. The only other issue that I have ever run into consistently on these harnesses is poor grounding through the OBD2 port. And to fix that, I usually just cut these two black wires and then run them to a better chassis ground closer to this. One other important thing to not forget is if you're using any type of harness that uses a stock ECM, you need to have your computer changed. I use HP tuners to do that. You have to change it to your engine size, what your transmission is, remove your top speed limiters. The rear O2 sensors need to be turned off. VATS needs to be turned off. EGR, purge solenoid, those things need to be turned off if they're turned on. Four-wheel drive stuff. And that's pretty much all you need to know. And if you are using a drive-by-wire harness, when you pull that gas pedal out of your donor and you pull your engine, don't forget your TAC module. It's on the driver's side of the firewall, and you need that to communicate from the gas pedal to the ECM. So in conclusion, would I buy something like this and use it in one of my cars? Yes. The BMWs had one for over a year now. I used one in my OBS. I originally had one in my Skylark. None of my cars have burned to the ground like everybody in the forums and groups says is going to happen using a cheap harness. Are they right for everyone? Probably not. You're going to need to have at least some electrical knowledge so that you can address issues when you do run into them, but they are a halfway decent cheap option.